The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network. Any questions or concerns about what is said should be directed to the show host, whose information will be provided upon request.
Hey everybody, it's green now, but hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Let's Do This Talk radio show. So, as always, got my girls with me. We're excited. We got some treats for y'all a little bit later on. We got some guests up in the studio. But y'all know how we start off at the beginning of the show. So today is no different. So ladies, what did you all do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? This weekend, we had church. My church, one of my churches that we affiliate with, they are in their General Assembly. So we've had services all week, and we even had a really nice service last night. So this weekend was just all about, church and family. My kids, they left me. They went to Massanutten on vacation with my mom. So today's the first day that they'll be back. So me and the hubby, we just been doing our own thing, getting crabs, and they calling home talking about, y'all don't do that when we here.
Okay.
So we just been enjoying one another, but this weekend was just all about rest and relaxation.
Absolutely, but tell the people who you are. Who relaxed and.
I am Minister Sonia. You probably heard me on Morning Glory in the morning on Facebook. Also on the Gospel Time Machine every morning at 10 a.m. I give an inspirational word. Also, my mother and I, we have Prince of Peace Assisted Living. We have 4 locations, 3 in Prince George's County, 1 in Montgomery County, and that's it.
Okay. And who we got over here?
I am Katrina. Hello, everyone. I'm Katrina Martin with the Global Next Gen Event Space and also with the Next Gen Powerhouse. My weekend, I'm just going to do shout-outs to my babies.
Okay.
Because they all had accomplishments this week. So I just want to give out shout-outs to them. I'm going to start with my oldest, with Gianni. She's moving into her apartment, another apartment.
Come on, little G.
So she got
We're not doing G anymore.
Nice. So congratulations on that. And then Dania tried out for the A&T Aggie cheerleader team, and she made it. She made it this week. And then Deja, she worked the summer job with the parking planning. They really liked her, so they hired her under parking planning.
Nice.
So she's no longer with the summer youth. She's with the parking plan, the actual murder parking plan. So my 3 babies, they did some accomplishments this week. So I got to give them their shout out.
Awesome. Well, it's your girl, Ladrine Howard Peterson. I'm the CEO and founder of Do It, delivering on ideas and thoughts. And you know what I do in a nutshell? I help to turn dreamers into doers. And I do it from 2 aspects, either from the career aspect or from the business aspect. So this weekend, what I did, I did stop by Selena's cookout. I was on time and everything, but stop by Selena's cookout. But I was preparing for my upcoming speaking engagement this weekend in New York City, which I'm so excited. So it's the Faithpreneur. So it's so many people. Randall Pinkin, you'll know him from Donald Trump's show. He was the first contestant that won. Donna Hicks, Becky Davis, a lot of well-known people are going to be there. So I'm going to be speaking on how to align your 9 to 5 with your side hustle. And you all know that's a chapter of a book that I just wrote in. So I'm going to be doing some workshops and everything. So this is my first step out there with that. So I'm looking forward to going to New York City and coming back with some awesome stuff.
Right.
Oh, New York.
So,
When you going?
You want to go?
When? I'm on the road again.
Thursday morning. So let me know.
All right.
So today, y'all know we get into some fun topics, and we also educate you. We go from business to real life, and today is one of those real life serious topics. So we're going to be talking about mental health, and the title of today's episode is Mental Health Matters. And we're going to break down, and as you can see, my positioning in my seat is a little bit different. That's not my mistake, because Trina. We're doing the Trina takeover. So Trina is taking over, and she is leading the show. So she's going to be hosting and doing everything, and how she does the tea time and girls talk at the end. That's my role for today.
Okay.
So we will not delay in getting started. We have some wonderful guests who have joined us in the studio, and we're going to get down and deep into it and start talking about what is a serious matter, what people shy away from in our community, but we're saying, you know, it's something that we need to talk about. So make sure y'all chime in and join in, and let me move over.
No, you ain't got to do all that journey. Y'all know, when I first started the show, that was my first thing. I was like, I'm not used to being in front of the camera, but it's been almost a year now.
Yes.
So,
Yes, and congratulations for
Thank
your
you.
growth.
Yeah, because I feel a little bit more comfortable. But
Yes.
But anyway, I want to first thank Ladream. We had talked about earlier in our season about mental health.
Yeah.
The month for mental health awareness was like May.
Yeah.
And so we kind of missed, we missed that mark with talking about it on the show. But I appreciate us revisiting this
Absolutely.
topic because it's very dear to me. It's very something that's very important to me, and it has been on my heart and my mind to discuss on the show.
Yeah.
So I did extend out an invitation to 3 special people. First I want to say Joyce, who's my HD warrior. So of course they're going to share their stories. They're going to introduce themselves. But I just want to just give my love, show my love for Joyce. I extended it out to her, and with open arms, she was like, "Sure, I'll show up on the show." So we also have my cuz here. She get on me because I say Ray Sean, the other one.
Right.
It's a family thing. But she get on me, I call her Ray Sean. But she's going to give you all her alter ego names and Lucy and all of that. But she's going to share her story and things like that. And then I also have my cousin back here, Carlton Hunter, and he's going to share his expertise in this area.
Yes, and on the line, we're going to go ahead and connect her now.
She's calling it, okay.
Yes,
we got
Janice
big love
Bowles.
today.
Janice, are you on? So we'll get Janice on the line correctly.
Okay. We have one more that's calling in. You had someone calling in.
Janice, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay.
So we have Janice, who is also going to be live with us and sharing as well.
Okay, so we got Janice on the line. So we got all this love on the platform
Yes,
today,
yes,
and I
yes.
appreciate everyone coming out. But so I'll let you all introduce yourselves. We'll go further into the topics, as far as sharing your stories and things like that. But I just want to give you all the opportunity to introduce yourselves.
Sure. Hi, I'm Joyce Terry Butler, and as Trina mentioned, I'm a H.G. Woodson alumni.
Woo, woo, woo.
I'm a wife and a mother of 4, and I also have 2 stepkids, and I have a total of 3 grandkids.
Wow.
I'm a senior contracting officer for the Federal Communications Commission as well. Been in government service for 27 years.
Hey.
Oh, I gotta do all that.
Yes, baby.
Just do you. Look.
Welcome to Let's Do This. That's how we do it.
Well, just let me start off by saying I do want to appreciate you ladies for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
Being among some spiritual women, I felt that vibe when I came through the door. So
Amen.
it's a blessing to be among some powerful spiritual women.
Thank you.
My cousin is here, and Joy is here, so it's good to be here with them. My name is Lucy. I'm sure everyone knows that. And I don't know. I'm an actress. You can catch me all over YouTube. I've done a lot of projects here in Washington, D.C. I'm politically affiliated. I don't get into too much of my personal business because it's just so much that's going on for me outside of that really doesn't even matter. But I'm just grateful to be here to share my experiences of mental illness. It's a tough subject that anyone would share, and it takes a lot to even talk about because people places the stigma on mental illness, and they don't accept people, and the first thing they talk about is mental illness, and they think everybody is crazy, and I don't even use that terminology. But I just want to thank them for inviting me to be a part of this, not only to share my experience, to be able to understand and communicate with other people that has experienced the same thing. So I want to thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And Carlton, this is our only male back here, so
My
We
name is
appreciate
Carlton
you.
Hunter. I'm retired military, 20 years. I was part of the Army Resiliency Program, and that program is to help soldiers develop pre-skills so that they won't deal with the coping of stress when they go to get deployed. I'm currently the Memorial Affairs Coordinator and Benefits at Fort Belvoir, and I'm part of the Grief and Bereavement Ministry at my church. And I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Okay.
And then on the phone, Janice.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Janice Bowles. I reside here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and thank you so much for having me call in tonight to share my personal testimony dealing with mental health and wellness. I'm a mental health advocate, and I also do some volunteer work here with Mental Health in America here in my area of Fredericksburg, Virginia.
And she's also the real estate. No, I'm playing. That real estate
that's
thing
right.
is serious.
That's
I
right.
follow
That's
her
right. That's
online.
on the
Yes.
So yeah, I want to thank everyone again.
you
But
all.
we're going to dive into our topic.
Yes.
And I just want to share that the reason why I wanted to make this day happen is because a personal experience I had, and it kind of like made me reflect on how easily your mind can shift into a dark place. And so pretty much that's my little portion of it, because I was able to rely on God and pull myself out of that dark place. But unfortunately, some people are not able to do that.
Yes.
So I'm gonna start with Joyce because I read your post. This was back in May. I want to say I think I was out in Mexico, and I'm not really on social media not a lot like that. But I think it was the Mother's Day weekend. I want to say it had to be because I was on social media and I so happened to read your post. And so when I read it, it touched me. And then I reached out to you and I said, would you mind coming on the show when we talk about this topic? So feel free to, share your story or, however you want to.
Sure. Those who know me know that I'm a very transparent person. I'm like anything that I go through, because in life I realize nothing is new underneath the sun. So anything I go through and God has got me through, He's got me through everything I went through, I'm always sharing my testimony. And one of the things I shared recently, like Trina said, was about me going through anxiety, depression. I've had that battle for so long. It was at one point in my life, everything was just dark. And I couldn't understand everything. I just disliked everything. And it wasn't until I turned to God and I realized, I was at one point in my life about to make a permanent decision for a temporary situation. And it was by the grace of God. I have a good girlfriend who went to Wilson with us as well, Viola Epps. She actually was there for me because she saw me at my breaking point. And it was like recently, I've learned to just walk around coping, just hiding it, because I'm I'm an extrovert. I'm just a people person. You always see me laughing, joking, and everything else. But many people didn't know I was like dying inside. I mean, constantly. I would literally go, and even my spouse, he didn't even know. I hid it so well. It got to the point where I was making preparations for everything, for my demise, because I just could not take the weight of the world anymore. And then recently I made a post that I was going through a change, and I realized I had to learn my triggers. What was actually setting me off to go into a depressed anxiety, just feeling overwhelmed. And I realized for me it was change. I struggled with change, and I was going through a change with my job, something that never expected. It was like just blindsided, and just the things I was going through in the workplace. And it wasn't until I had a moment I had to fast and pray. I mean, really deep down fast and pray. And I'm a serious prayer warrior. But just like with everything I tell people, prayer, you have to put wings on it. I couldn't just keep getting on my knees. I had to get up and do something about it. So one of the things I had to learn is what were my triggers? And then instead of just, once I learned the triggers, instead of just harping on it, I acted on them. I'm like, okay, then we're going to detonate this. We're not going to let this shoot off. So I was just doing this changing. I was having when I have negative thoughts, switch is a positive in everything. I don't care what you throw at me. I'm going to give you a positive to it. So I changed my mindset. I still have moments where I do get down. I take on the weight of the world from everybody. I would take on my friends, family problems on my own. I would have sleepless nights and things like that. And I'm like, this is not how God wanted me to live. You know, He has me here for a purpose. Every day He wakes me up, I have a purpose. And it wasn't until my mid to late 30s I learned my purpose, close to my 40s. That's, I tell people, I've gotten to essential oils. You know, one of my gifts I got recently was like an essential oils bracelet. So I have lemongrass in it to help me with stress and anxiety.
Okay.
I just learned just different things.
Right.
You know, I've meditate, read books, and go to therapy.
Yes.
I tell people, go to therapy. Just like she was saying, it's not for the crazy. It's stuff that we cannot, some things we don't know how to understand or break down or whatever else. You need that person who don't know you, who can help you dive into what you need to dive into and sort it out. And I had a great therapist years ago. She retired. I mean, when I tell you, she broke it down, and I had to learn me. And one of the things I had to learn is I had to own up to me.
Right.
I had to own things, and I had to come to grips with some of the things and accept some things, and then back some things off. So once I learned my triggers, once I learned how to put things in perspective, I'm in such a better place. Even the situation with my job, I told my supervisor, I was like, you made me a better person. It surprised her.
Wow.
Because I'm no longer walking in the office mad and ready to go into defense mode. I'm bring it, whatever it is, because it's gonna brush off, and I'm not carrying this anymore.
Amen.
Not carrying it.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much
We're gonna
for
come
sharing
back
your
to that.
story.
Okay, so Lucy, you want to share yours?
Wow. It's interesting to hear Joyce's story, but I became a victim of my disability, my mental illness, in 2011. And what triggered me was work, which is a big factor because a lot of people suffer from depression from other reasons. It could be relationships or home, but your workplace is where you spend all your time. And when you have no other way out, no other alternative, and I had been working in that place it started in 2011. So I've been working for the agency for 19 and a half years, but before it happened, it was in 98. So I became victimized in 2011. It didn't end until 2017. So every day I was going to work fighting this demon. But to know that how hard it is to get up in the morning, I had to put on this mask. Oh my God.
Take it to
Every day I had to get up and put on a mask. Just having to cover up, put a mask on me to just get me through 8 hours of my day was more harder than me sitting at work for 8 hours. Because I had to be something that I wasn't.
Right.
I had to pretend that I was happy when I wasn't. I had to pretend that I knew everything that was going on with me, but I had no clue. I had no way out. I've been in a hospital twice, suffering with depression. And when I was diagnosed with bipolar, it hurt me because that bipolar word, it's a stigma on it. And when people get diagnosed with bipolar, they automatically say, well, you crazy. And it's not true. But I didn't let that stigma stick with me. I immediately went to the books. And I began to read because I said, I'm going to beat this. This disease ain't going to beat me. I'm going to beat it. I'm going to learn how to cope with it. I'm going to learn how to remove myself from situations that are unhealthy for me. And I'm going to get through it. Till this day, I'm still in the healing process. You know, it got so bad to the point I lost my job. And I had no other choice. For 7 years, I kept praying. And I knew what God had for me was for me. And He knew that I could beat that situation. But I had prayed in 17. I told my cousin, and I was struggling and I was crying every day. I was going to Facebook. I was writing my expressions on Facebook, but I would walk around like nothing was bothering me. I mean, I was just this helpful person, but when I go home, it was bad. I painted my house chocolate, my bedroom chocolate. I put tents on my windows in my house. I completely isolated myself.
Wow.
So when I went to work, I was mentally isolated for 8 hours. They isolated me. So I had no way out. But one thing I can say, I thank God. I thank God for prayer. And I thank God for faith and a change. Because in October 2017, I knew my time was up. And I told God, whatever he got planned for me, I'm ready. I had a mortgage. I had bills, but I was tired. And the only thing that kept me with that job was the fact that I had been there for so long. And you know, we get tied up in these jobs. And we think that because we've been there for so long, there's no other way out. But they had trapped me there. They trapped me. So it really wasn't no way out for me to even go to another job. And I wasn't even mentally stable. So I was trapped. If I had left this job, I can't go to another job with the pain that I had. So in October 2017, I prayed. I got on my knees and I prayed. And I said, God, I can't do this no more. Jesus. I said, I refuse to go into 2018 feeling like this.
Right.
If you want to take this job from me, you take this job from me. You do whatever you got for me, but I can't do this no more. On December the 8th, they brought me my papers. People cry when they lose their job. But that day, and I cry every day at work. Every day. When they brought me them papers and told me that I was terminated, it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. All I could say was I'm free. I felt like an inmate being released from prison. I was like, I don't have to worry about this no more. You okay? Am I okay? That's the best thing, because I wasn't going to walk away from my job. That's what they wanted me to do. But if you want me out, you're going to put me out this situation. And that's what they did, and God carried me. God carried me. My mortgage was paid every month. I ain't had no job. I ain't had nothing, but I had the good Lord.
Yes.
And people could not understand, Rayshawn, how did you make it? My daughter sent me messages and said, Mom, you make it. You make the struggle look easy. I said, no, I didn't. It wasn't nobody but the good Lord. He knew I was tired. And he told me when I left that job, I got you.
Yes.
I'm going to carry you and I'm going to hold you. Because I know you tired. And that's what he did for me. And it brought me closer to prayer. It brought me closer to him. And it brought me closer to my illness. It helped me to understand my illness, which helped me remove myself from a lot of situations. And it's different because I'm sitting on social media. And I got a lot of people viewing. They probably never thought that they would hear me talk about mental illness. Mental illness is real. I have came to that point so many times. When I say the devil is busy and the mental illness world, it will come into your life and tell you you have nothing but death. That's it. But you gotta beat it. So I just wanna, share that and thank you all.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, so we're gonna let Carlton kind of take over. He can explain.
Hold on, let's do Janice's story and then go to him.
Okay, so Janice has a story too.
So we'll go with Janice first. Janice?
Yes.
So yes, we're ready for you to share your story.
Well, first I just want to say the ladies Joyce and Rashawn for just being so transparent and talking about it, because for me that was something that I did not have an opportunity to do or an outlet as I was reaching out. And for me, I'm gonna tell you, my depression started and me suffering with depression for years, well over half of my life, and I'm 50 years old, was started from losing loved ones, death. Death was the enemy
trigger
for me in my mind, and not knowing how to cope with that. And it started for me basically when I was 15 years old. My father passed away at that time frame, and then about 2.5 years later, my mother, and then another 2.5 years later, an older brother. Very, very tragically. So, being at a young age at that time frame, losing close individuals to me, and the stigma was definitely there. How black families, we really don't talk about mental illness. It still exists today where you're kind of like shunned. And that's what I went through. I tried to seek out because I needed to have someone to talk to, but again, that was not available to me. So I went through well over half of my life just, I guess you could say in a zombie state, just coping day to day and not getting out what I needed to get out, my expressions of what losing, my loved ones had an impact upon me. So that's where it started for me. And it was not until, I guess, at one point I stopped. I was like, this is useless. I don't have anybody to talk to. I started off with family members first and foremost. And, everyone was, well, we're going to pray for you. They felt pity for me because, I didn't have my parents. But they just didn't want to listen to the experiences and the things that I was dealing with internally. So it was not until I was about, oh my gosh, maybe a good 10 years ago, to be honest with you, that I sought therapy. And at that time frame, that was opening up the catalyst for me to just acknowledge all the things that I had been going through prior to. So, therapy is very, very important. Talking, just talking, find someone that you can talk to, just convey what you're going through and have that listening ear. Having a person not being judgmental is very, very, very crucial that I found. Yeah. So now for me, that breaking that stigma is just so important. And in the young people, I have a passion for it, helping out the young folks, because I can look back and see even certain things that, perhaps the peer pressure that my daughter may have experienced, and her being able to talk and open up and talk about different things that, has an impact. So, again, I just commend you ladies for just being able to share, on this public platform, your experiences, and that's going to just help people, so many. So it's a wonderful thing.
So thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Janice. Thanks for sharing, Janice.
Scoot on up.
I'm scoot over. We're gonna scoot over. We're gonna let Carlton come up so he can kind of.
As you listen to the stories, you can tell that mental illness starts at any age. Within all of us, there are 8 dimensions in which we live. We have emotional wellness, financial, environmental, social, physical, spiritual, intellectual, and occupational, and physical. And with each one of those, we can overwhelm ourselves if we don't live a healthy life. So one of the things it does is that once you get overwhelmed, you start having a negative thought pattern, and you start to become who you are, and then that controls over your heart. And so once it gets inside of you, then it starts to come outside of you, and those feelings and emotions start to affect you and the people around you. So even for me, mine started at 7 because I grew up believing my mom didn't love me. So with that, at the age of 7, then when I turned 12, I found out I had epilepsy. So I had a sense of hopelessness. So I've been suffering from epilepsy since I was 12. I'm 50 now, and so I've been suffering from depression of the love for my mom since I was 7. So with those things, I went into isolation, depression, hopelessness, even tried to attempt suicide when I was 18 because at that time, I didn't have nobody to talk to. And that's the importance of mental health and wellness, because you need to get that out there for people to come forward, because a lot of people have the stigma that you're crazy. But then also it's cultural wellness, because African Americans have a certain history. You have your Hispanics who are trying to come over and they're going through situations, and we feel like they don't understand us. Caucasians don't understand us. Well, we just gotta give each other a chance. So as for me, I wound up cutting off a whole half of my family because I was isolation, and I didn't think that I wanted to be an embarrassment to them. And I didn't think nobody could love a person like me. So my self-esteem went low. So now that's why I went back to school, so that I can understand, because I didn't get that growing up. So now one of the things that's trending now is preventive measures, where in the Army, we have a program called the Army Resiliency Program. And they teach soldiers to deal with situations, to deal with mental health issues now before we get deployed. Like one of the simplest ones is called Hunt the Good Stuff, where everybody, no matter what your day went like, everybody is sent around and you'll name 3 things that went right that day. And the key to that is whoever first, the whole family will focus on that person and lift that person up. So now they're building up their self-esteem, their confidence that even though you had a bad day, it doesn't have to last all day. So when you go to sleep at night, you go to sleep with a clear mind, and you wake up with a hopeful day. And there's other ones. You have any questions? Because I can just keep going.
I wanted to say something. So, you know, a lot of people don't know because I never gave my testimony publicly either. But listening to you, and you know, I talked to Ladrine last week about it, and actually, I'm part of a book club with Allison, and in the book is when the first time that I really come out with, you know, my testimony. So I was diagnosed at 13 with bipolar. And because I was dealing with it for so long, I know so much about it. And one thing about bipolar, you have to understand that it's a chemical thing. So a lot of people, you know, they want to say, oh, you're crazy. But the thing is, it's no different than, let's say you were diabetic and you had to take your insulin every day. But at 13, that's very hard to process because every time I take my medication, it's a reminder that I'm different from everybody else. And one thing about bipolar is once, you know, you have the right amount of medication in your system, you're totally fine. And once you feel fine, what do? You stop taking your medication. And so for me, from probably 13 to into my 20s, it was just a constant cycle of being well and functioning, and then I would have an episode. Episodes would involve hospital visits. It would involve missing school. But I was so determined. Like you said, I was always very, very close to God. And I was so determined not to let this thing beat me. And what my thing was, I got to be the best at everything. Because when they see me, I don't want them to see bipolar. They need to see she owned her own business. She got a great job. She got a husband. She got kids. You can say whatever you want. Don't call me crazy. Don't call me bipolar. And so I shunned away from that, and to the point where I was like ashamed. And it wasn't until this last hospital visit where, and the only reason that I got sick was because I'm trying to lose weight, and I did a detox, not realizing you're detoxing all of your medication out of your system. So it threw my levels off. So, but when I went into the hospital this time, it was different. It was as if God was just speaking directly to me. And when I came out different. And you know, my husband and I, we laughed because when I was in the hospital, is when I really started preaching. I was already ordained minister, and I remember when I got ordained, I was like, man, I ain't doing it. I'm a teacher. You know, maybe I know how to break down the word of God and stuff like that, but I ain't no preacher. When I went in the hospital, I started preaching, y'all. I was preaching to everybody in the hospital. And my husband said, what medicine they got you on? And he said, you know, the side effect is turning you into a preacher. I'm like, baby, have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that on a pill bottle? Like, I've seen makes you nauseous, or, you know what I'm saying? Right. But I've never seen it say turns you into a Baptist preacher. Right. But that's what happened to me. And so my husband, I don't know if I want you on that because, and I had to explain to him, but I prayed for that. Like, I always wanted to be a preacher. I wanted to be anointed. I wanted to, like, be able to walk in a room and shift the atmosphere. And I knew that God was going to equip me to do that because I knew that I was called at a young age. You know, I literally brought my entire family into church. When I was going to church, I went home, I told my mother, I said, why, you know, you don't go to church. You only come on Easter. Everybody else, mom and dad is in there. It convicted her. Then she came to church. Then she told her sister. Then my uncles came. Then my cousins came. So I was sort of that catalyst that brought everybody to church. So I knew that I had a purpose. But I had this secret. I didn't want nobody to know. I was so ashamed. And I just remember thinking, I can never let anybody find out about this. Because if they find out, they're going to discount the fact that I own my own business. They're going to discount the fact that I got a great job in the government. They're going to discount the fact that I'm a wonderful mother, a great wife. All of that out the window if they ever found out about me.
But look at God. Look at God. I mean, as you talk about the things that you went through growing up, and you talked about the hospitalization that caused your purpose, your divine purpose to come out of you. So I'm not saying that the mental illness is what brought it out, but I'm saying that the mental illness is what brought it out.
It had to happen.
God, the way that God works, it's not what people say about, oh my God, she got a good job, but oh my God, God, it's like I can take anybody with any condition,
situation,
and this is what it is, so that it doesn't matter if somebody is out there and they're going through something. You see, there's the other side. When you're going through, and when you're in the midst of it, and you're feeling lonely, you're feeling like it's no way out, you're feeling like you want to be by yourself, and then you're feeling like you don't want anybody to talk about you. Like, stop worrying about those things.
And that's what I'm saying.
And the last thing that I'm saying is, like, make sure that your story is told. Somebody is listening right now. They might not have identical situations that you all have, but like in terms of your whole phase, and people know you to be an actor, and people know you to be a this and a that, and then you just now sharing with them. You know how many of those people that are listening have secrets, So a blessing, a blessing, a blessing, a blessing, and a blessing. So y'all gotta use y'all voice to help people.
You gotta understand that the enemy, that's what he does. He wants to come in and make you feel like it's only you. And so when you're going through something that's depressing, and God showed me, he said that I had to take you through this so that you can go and get your sister and pull her up. Because when you're going through a depression, it's like you're in a closet and you only see what's in front of you. You don't even realize that you got a whole house out there. Because the enemy will show you only what's in front of you. But I'm speaking to somebody. You got to understand that this thing is temporary. You said it best when you said, I almost did something permanent for a temporary situation. It is so temporary. I can remember times where I was in the hospital and I was like, you know, my life is over. I'm hopeless. My family, you know, they just need to just give up on me because I can't get it right. And within 2 weeks, you get your medicine right and you back straight. You know what I mean?
It's that dark place.
That's what the medicine, it makes you feel like you back straight.
And it's like, but the thing is, this is a temporary thing, and it's something that can be fixed. And as long as you look at it like, look, if I was diabetic and I took my insulin, ain't nobody saying nothing about that. And it's the same thing. I just recognize I gotta take this medicine. I gotta take it. That's all there is to it. And I've had doctors who I sit down with and they say, you know what, you don't need this anymore. You're healed, or God delivered you. Let me tell you something. The devil is a lie. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't need to take your medication. Now, I know that God is a healer, but I also know that God placed people on this earth that have knowledge and skills and understanding to help us to be healthy. So don't ever think that you know what, if I must not be saved because, you know, I still take. Listen, you got to use some wisdom. You got to use some wisdom, and you got to know yourself. Like you said, once you get to know yourself and you recognize there's certain things that's a trigger to me. You know, it's certain things that trigger, and then you got to have. I thank God for my family. I thank God for my family. When I get sick, first thing my sister do, she comes take my phone, my computer, everything, because she know I'm going straight to social media, and I'm gonna say some stuff that I don't need to be saying, you know. But you gotta have that support system. I thank God for my friends. I got girlfriends that love me. I had one friend. She's listening. I'll never forget. I called her and I'm crying, and she like, I'm on my way. She took me to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have friends that love you, that care for you, and that want the best for you. You know.
And speaking of that, Carlton, one of the things that you said that you removed yourself away from your family because you didn't want to be an embarrassment to them. So can you just tell us, like, once you explain to them, like, your situation, how do they react to you?
Or if you explain it.
When you have epilepsy, there's nothing really to say, because once you had that seizure, you know people are looking at you and wondering what's going on with you. And because I didn't understand it, I didn't accept it. So it wasn't until I accepted it that I was able to turn it over to God. And so the doctors, they give you the medicine to get you better, but they don't take care of the mental part that goes on in your mind, because you be angry, because I wanted to fight. And then it was isolation because it was just too much worry about what other people think.
Right.
And then now you got to learn who you are again because now you have certain restrictions on your life, things you can't do, but you still can live a positive life if, like when you turn it over to God, and that, because I was suffering from self-esteem. So I turned it over to God, and now that I started loving God, I can start loving myself. So now I can receive and give love. And now I can also focus on letting the people who love me to love me. Because when we talk about triggers, one of the things I didn't know, when I would be in a relationship, my trigger was the word "I love you." So I didn't believe nobody could love me since my mother didn't. So I would just start analyzing everything. How does this person love me? She lying. So that would end the relationship. But then after I went through my recovery, I started getting on Facebook in 2008, and I actually wrote all those women a letter apologizing to them, letting them know it wasn't your fault, it was on me because I couldn't receive the love that you have. And that was the road to my forgiveness. So once you accept it, then you can turn it over and start being open, because like you said, once you turn it over to God and you get that love for yourself, now you're more open and acceptable to allowing the process for you to get better. And then it works. And then you got your support channel, your friends, and your coping skills that you can develop to help you get through it.
And it's interesting that what you were saying about loving yourself. That's one thing I didn't. And if people who know me would never think that I didn't love myself. I didn't like myself. It wasn't until I changed. And now if you see Facebook posts, I'm always posting myself and shining on myself, and people don't understand. It's not being conceited or anything like that. It's you don't know where I've been. Right. You don't know how much I dislike myself. I am so in love with Joyce. I thank God that I'm in love with Joyce. I love every ounce of her, and it helps me because when the devil tried to defeat me in my mind, he made me try to feel like I was less than, and I was believing him. I would literally let him sit on my shoulder and speak to me and believe what he's saying. Like, no, I'm a child of God. No, I know God didn't design me for this. I know He had something bigger and better for me. So it wasn't until, I'm telling you, once I got that talk with God, and He was like, shake it off. He said, you've been there long enough. Shake it off. And I share my testimony because, just like you said, you don't know who you're going to touch. I mean, I have ran into people just out and about. Just see me on Facebook. I don't know them. They're like, you Joyce? And they would say, this different. And they say different things. Exactly. And it's like, when you shared about how you didn't want nobody to know that you was bipolar, it was interesting because what I'm about to share now, no one knows, but my immediate family and Viola Ellis. I was in a mental institution. When I tried to commit suicide, I was in-house for 3 weeks. And had outpatient care. And that's something I never shared with them. And Viola never divulged that information to no one. But it's like a stigma. And there's no way I can tell people I'm in the middle. But no, I'm telling you, I know I had to go through what I had to go through to be a blessing to somebody else. Amen. I had to. I mean, even with the suffering and things I went through on my job, a colleague contacted me. She said she's going through it. She was like, you had to go through what you went through to help me. I said, but I went through it 10 times worse. So I was telling her, I said, I'm just letting you know. So if I've been through 10,000 worse and I'm in my right same mind after all of that, you can do this.
And I like what I'm hearing on this platform is G-O-D.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Praise God! I mean, that's the common denominator in this whole thing because
all roads lead to
the Almighty God. That's who we're all relying on. Because one thing I will say, and people don't think that this is serious, but your mind can slip. Drop of a second.
That's it.
If you slip in that dark place and you stay there too long, and as I was researching on mental illness, I noticed that the most common types were clinical depression, which I see that that was pretty much the heavy hitter here. But anxiety. A lot of people don't think that anxiety is a mental disorder. People walk around it like, they think anxiety is something that you can just push to the side and you pretty much don't have to share about anxiety. But anxiety can take you to a deep place as well, and it keeps you uncomfortable. It changes your mood swings, your behavior, and things like that. And then the other one was the bipolar. These were the main three that I saw pretty much were at the top of the charts.
Can I just say about bipolar? Because a lot of people really don't understand that this illness is tricky, okay? Because if you're in a manic state, everything is wonderful. You're like on 10. I didn't sleep for 3 weeks straight. Did not sleep. My husband said, "Babe, this is not you. Your organs are gonna shut down. What is going on?" I could not sleep. Right? I took enough medication. When I went to the hospital, they said, "You took what?" And I was like, 300 milligrams of trazodone. They said that's enough to put down a small village. I was still up, still acting crazy, still up. So my husband, he said, "I gotta take you to the emergency room because you're not sleeping." But when you're in a manic state, you think something wrong with everybody else, but not you. Okay, you're happy. It's like a euphoria. I can't really explain it because I've never been on drugs. I never had to. I had this, so you know what I mean. So I can't explain it. But then there's that other side. There's the depressed side, and that's that side that's like it's crippling. It's debilitating. You can't even get up out of bed. I remember at a young age, I would go to school and I would think everybody's talking about me, the teachers are talking about me, the students are, and God always placed some good girlfriends in my life, and they would be in the bathroom with me like, "Sonia, that's not what's going on." Yes, they are. They talking about me. I mean, mine was gone. But through it all, I'm graduating. I'm getting A's and B's. I'm making honor roll. I'm getting a full 4-year scholarship in college. Like God just protected me every step of the way. And so it's just so important for us to understand, like if you have bipolar, you got to know what the symptoms are. You got to know what, when you're not well, and because the first thing I say, no, something wrong with you. I'm fine.
And you were going to say something. I'll chime in after you were about to say something.
No, I just wanted to talk about the coping because we all talk about the stigma and everything, but coping with the bipolar and severe depression and anxiety is the most important thing. Finding things that take your mind away from the situation. And with me, it was harder because I could get up. I still had to go to work every day. So for years, I could not hide it. I could not hide the depression no matter what I did, how I did. The only way I could hide it is when I got off from work every day, I would go home in my basement. I'm in a townhome. I never went upstairs. I would go home and go right in the basement and isolate myself. Wouldn't answer my phone calls for weeks. And I'm still getting to the point. My cousin know I have that cell phone situation, I have a problem, but it only came when I got sick. Shut my phone off. Wouldn't talk on the phone. Isolate myself for weeks. Wouldn't answer my door. It was the most darkest place. But I thank God for line dancing. Because when I started dancing, I went 2 years ago. I didn't know what line dancing was. Right. I just knew I wanted to get out of this situation. I tried everything. Everything I could. Spoken word. I've been doing that for years, but it wasn't working for me. I had a writer's block. I couldn't do anything. I was filming, but because everybody knew me and knew my situation, I've been getting to shy away from that because the word started to get out like something wrong. And they was putting that stigma on me, so I stopped filming. I started everything, and this is interesting because nobody probably knew why Lucy not filming no more. Why we don't see Lucy no more. So I'm sharing now exactly why I was pulling away from the world. And the worst thing I could ever done, I pulled away from my girls. I pulled away from all 3 of my girls. Wouldn't talk to them. Wouldn't communicate because I did not want them to see the pain in their mother because I was always that strength. I was always that bridge. Rayshawn could do this. Rayshawn could make it work. Love, love, love. But at the end of the day, I didn't have no love inside
empty
me.
Inside, right?
I was so empty inside. And when you empty inside, you're going to talk about love, but you really don't have it. That's what you want, but I didn't have it. I could not have loved myself to allow that situation to overpower me the way that it did. So coping skills and learning how to deal with it and that line dancing, I honestly believe it saved me. Wow. It was the best thing.
Outlet.
Yeah, you said running.
The women. I never hung with girls. That has never been my thing. But hanging around 12, 15 different women, different ages, not from DC, but from different states, they welcome me.
Yes.
When you get it was a total different atmosphere. When I say these women welcome me, a few of them knew my situation. They opened their arms, showed me love, called me every day, would come to my house and visit me, take me out of town. It was the best thing that could have ever happened to me.
That's one of this time, and she spoke on the coping, like you said, with the line dancing. For me, it was running. I run with Black Girls Run. I run and I was doing all 50, doing half marathons in all 50 states and everything else. And it helps me. It's like I have moments I would get up, put on my light in the middle of the night and go run. Right. And I just have that moment in that time. And like you said, another thing is having your girlfriends. I have 4 core girlfriends who are like my rock, who no matter what I'm going through, I can call and talk to them, and they take me off that ledge. Because they're my prayer warriors. That's another key. You got to get you some praying friends. Right. You got to have people of like mind. And I just thank God because he brought these 4 ladies in my life at the right time.
At the right time. Timing is everything.
The right time.
And thank God for I want to piggyback off of you guys. That was one of my questions for you all. Girlfriends, and in your case, friends, or it could be girlfriends or whatever. But we have an obligation as being a friend to check on one another, to chime in. Like, by coincidence, with my cuz down there, we don't keep in touch on a regular, but we did a Facebook inbox, we need to do lunch. Been on my mind, I've been on her mind, but we ain't seen each other. So we do lunch and everything comes out. You know what I'm saying? And you just be surprised, like you said, with timing. When God put people in your life for whatever, it can be one day out of 3 years. There's a purpose behind that meeting. There's a purpose behind that encounter. And we just bonded with this whole thing. And that's how I knew what you were going through. And I kept that in the back of my mind. Like I said, I had always wanted to do this show. So that's why I had kept you in the back of my mind. And when I read yours, this was a while ago. So it's always been filtering. But I just say that as friends, as girlfriends, family, check on each other. You never know. Because me, everybody know I'm that go-to person. I will try to lift 2 worlds on my shoulder. We only got 1 world, but I try to lift 2. And so, but it's not too. It can easily happen where you can take on too much. Like you said, Carlton, you take on too much. You keep it inside. You try to wear that mask, and you slip right into one of these mental.
So in terms of like what you're saying, slipping into. So although you all were diagnosed for in one way, it ended up happening or another. You started off talking about a situation that you were in. And so many times when I talk to people, and even myself, when we feel like we're losing our footing, like there's a situation that's going on, and it may not take us to the point of being diagnosed with something, but you don't even know. Like sometimes we're like just moments and minutes away, and that's why it's so important to talk to people. And I definitely, in terms of my situation, I remember when I was going through my divorce. So I had been married for all of these years, didn't want to be married for maybe 10 of the latter years, and I was trying to save face for my husband and let him get himself together, because I was like, if something happens to him, I will feel like awful about it. So as I began to do that and go through it for so long, I knew I didn't want to be with him. It was like we were living separate lives, but the whole point of it was that I felt like I began to lose myself. Although, don't get me wrong, I was doing everything, accolades galore, and functional and doing what I need to do. But it was like I was losing myself. And I can remember, it was a short period of time. It didn't go on, but it was a moment. I snapped and was like, hold on. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And I remember church has always been my saving faith, and God, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Is something going on? What's going on? And I can remember, and this young lady, and I'm going to send her a message, but her name is Ivy McGregor. She had no idea that one day I met her at my church. She was doing something, and we started talking. I inboxed her about her book or whatever, and she was preaching at Zion. And I went to go to Zion, and I don't know why, but I love our church. And I kept on saying, go to the church and hear her preach. Go to the church and hear her preach. And her message, and then afterwards I had a conversation with her. And people know I don't have a level of comfort with everybody when I first meet them. Now I have changed to this whole extrovert, and it's a different thing, but I was an introvert. And I can remember sending her a long inbox message on Facebook. And it was only because it was my outlet. It wasn't anybody that I wanted to go to and share. And I remember saying, my husband, not him per se, but because of what I'm going through, it's stopping me from fulfilling and moving forward on my purpose. And I remember saying, I want to start a business and I want to do this. And that was my right out to it. And that was what I wrote out was my plan that I wanted to do. And that's my plan that I ended up doing. Do it, got started. Everything fell into play. But I say that to say, even those who are introverts and you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, you need to find somebody to talk to. Because when I went back and thought about it, that was a point where I thought I was going to lose
a turning point.
Lose my mind. So although you all were diagnosed with it and it got to that point, and God snapped me out of it because I was like, girl, get yourself together, go. And amen for that. Because I can remember really seriously and I can remember feeling and I had a conversation with my daughter and I said something to that degree of, I just feel like I knew I couldn't take it anymore. And God shifted that thing. So through prayer. So those of you who are out there and you feel a sense of anything, don't wait.
Don't
Trina said, talk to somebody and just make sure that you express it, even if it's someone you don't know. I got sent Ivy a message. I don't know her like that.
I do want to touch base on the symptoms. Can you give us some of the symptoms so that some of the the audience and we can kind of get an idea what to look out for if someone is going through some of these mental disorders?
If you suffering from depression, I got sadness. If you feeling sad too long, if you just feeling weak, and if you go someplace and your energy is drained, you wake up in the morning feeling good, then all of a sudden you get to a certain place, school, work, church, and all of a sudden you just feel drained. You know something wrong because something's taking your energy. That's a trigger for you that something's wrong. Anxiety, when you just feel like you can't fail, it's the number one thing. You got a sense of hopelessness because you don't feel like you can do anything. It's just because you just don't understand that you have options at a better opportunity, a better life. With bipolar, some of the symptoms I have put down for bipolar, these ladies already have spoke on. And the main thing is when you get your treatment, take your medication, it's therapy, and just be willing to talk to people. That's the key. Have communication with some people, and that'll release a lot of it so you won't hold it in. For bipolar, I had, it is a serious vein injury, and some of the symptoms are if you're talking really fast, doing things, having trouble staying focused, thinking about sex more often, doing risky things, feel like they can't enjoy anything. And I think she mentioned the depressive one and the manic one. So you just have to be careful. Just check yourself. You know you acting out of character, then that's what you really need to know.
And spending money. Oh my goodness.
Shopping.
Spending money.
Some type of addiction.
It's ridiculous. My husband would wake up and I would tell him I just bought a pillow top mattress for us, and he'd be like, babe, thousands of dollars out the window. And so that's a big one.
Shopping.
And your family, my family, they know. Get her credit cards, get her stuff.
Oh, so they know your and that's good for people to know you. So if they know you're doing things that's out of the ordinary or it's starting to trigger, then it's the family and friends' responsibility to chime in on that. You seem like you have a very aggressive group. Because what they will do, they'll shut you down. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
No,
because I always say this about my husband because when I go through episodes of when I get sick or I have to get my treatments, the first thing he take my phone, he take my laptop because he know I'm gonna try to work or people gonna be calling me. I'm gonna try to be talking to somebody about ministering and trying to encourage people, and I'm all sick and things like that. So that's good. That aggressiveness is good. So it's whoever that charger is to take that person to take charge. Take charge. Don't feel guilty that I'm the bad guy. Let me do what you got to do because it's gonna help that person.
That
And
helps
it's
you.
tricky too because I'm really funny, like
know.
hilarious when I'm sick, like even more than normal. Like I'm normally funny too,
You
but
like extra funny.
hilarious. So it's almost like you enjoy being around, but you know, like she can't keep going.
Right.
Look at that salad.
Yeah.
Let's have a little talk. Let's sit
So,
down.
we got, Ma, it's 8. It's 8.
Oh wow!
No, I was just saying. I was getting ready to say, oh man. Look, check me out, y'all. I'm like,
The subject is so good.
again, we run out of time.
Good. We go by we don't need to go with the call. So let's just go through any last minute quick. Look, I gotta say quick. We're gonna start with some
flag in a minute.
because she gonna have us put out the joint. But no, she is a minister, like a minister. She brings the word, but we only got a couple minutes.
Okay, we got a few minutes. Let's roll.
All right, no, just the bottom line is prayer. Everybody said that. Everybody said, when I get in this state, I pray because we know that we serve a God who's bigger and he can fix this thing. So sometimes it's good to have people in your corner, but always go to God.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to you next. I know you playing with your face
Oh
for
no, I'm
prayers,
talking
but-
to my cousin.
So you next.
Only thing I really wanted to say is our children today. A lot of them are in danger, and because of their parents, such as myself, my daughter was in danger. So you have to recognize the depression in your children, because a lot of our kids out here are acting out today because they're going through a sickness, and a lot of the sicknesses is coming from their parents, but they don't know it. A lot of parents suffering with bipolar. Both parents. So of course your child gonna come out with that trait, but how they beat it is one thing, but you can see it in the children with everything that they going on, the fighting, the anger in schools. They may think their child bad. No, something else is going on in your child's life. So I just wanted to bring that up because people don't recognize that their children may be suffering with depression as well.
The last thing I want to say is make sure you educate yourself, whether you're suffering from it or you have a friend that's suffering from it, because now you need to know how to be there for them, and that'll help you with your patience and to be able to understand what they're going through and help them with their needs. So it's important that we keep doing this because of all the problems that people bring to church, I think they don't bring mental health issues to the church. And you have so many people in the church with it that don't want to mention it because they feel embarrassed. So hopefully this will reach somebody to say, hey, just go to your church, because that's what I'm trying to focus on now, starting a mental health ministry within my church as well.
For me, what I wanted to say is learn your triggers. Pay attention to the common denominator. Know what sets you off or what gets you into that space. And then try to find out what your coping mechanism is. Like for me, like I said, running and Zumba. This having one with myself, being with myself, is a coping mechanism for me. And I pray that you find someone that you can talk to. Therapy is a good thing. Don't let nobody tell you different. If one therapist didn't work, you didn't get out, find another one. You need to seek help and talk to someone who has professionally who can help you through this, and have a spiritual person as well. If you can go to your pastors, your spiritual leader, have friends, have prayer warriors, all that intertwines together. All of that.
I'll add, like you mentioned, don't forget about our young people. Don't be afraid to have those conversations. Just talk to them. You just never know from that conversation what it may lead to, and what it brings awareness. So just don't be afraid to have those conversations with the young people. And if it comes to mind to check on a person, just do it.
Do it.
A phone call won't hurt. A lunch date, dinner date. Just take the time out your busy schedules to check on everyone, because we're all going through it. We at some point in life, we all have our different seasons where we go through things, and you just never know. The person who you think got it all going on,
They got it.
they empty inside. Like Lucy said, empty inside.
So as we close the show, the last thing that I'll say is make sure that you're open and you are aware. Pay attention to people who are before you. You don't have to know them. One of the things that I'm famous for are homeless people. Normally, like around the stores, like the 7-Eleven, when I get out of the car, you will see me on the side actually having a conversation with them. Because a lot of times, it's a situation that happened. It's something that happened that got them there. And then one of the things that they'll commonly say, I'm not crazy. People think I'm crazy. And And so we have to be careful in how we treat people. We have to be and Trina alluded to it earlier. It is our responsibility to care for one another.
Right.
And one of the things Reverend Rice posted yesterday that you're about your gifts that God has given you. Everything that you have given they're not for you. It is for you to share. So when we go in isolation, we're being disobedient because nobody can get your testimony, your testimony, your testimony. Nobody can understand. And you can't get what somebody else has for you. Amen. So make sure that you are a people person. And I know that's funny coming from me. I used to be, but my whole transition, I used to be to myself all the time. And the joy that I have of being around people and talking to people, encouraging, and also getting encouragement from me has really changed my life. I always talk about a shift. And it hasn't been that long, maybe 3.5 years. So make sure that you take care of yourself, but also take care of other people.
Else. Yes.
And remember that it's God. It's God. It's God. So we have a lot of comments.
We are so sorry, y'all. We did not include you in on the comments. I feel bad.
But I want to give a shout out to a couple of people. Give a shout out to Donnice Mary, Diane, Cabbage Stalker Linda, Sonia right here, but she on here too. Peggy, hi Miss Peggy, Nina Higgs,
That's my friend.
Clifton, Willock Jr.
Family is in the house.
Your cousin been in my house.
Shanae, and Shanae will be on here next week. Gloria Harris. So we got Auntie Swinson, Char Share. I might be saying your name wrong, but you know them.
Oh, my mom.
The Robert Sly, Michelle
Bernie on there.
Sonda Hickman, Sunita, Bernie, Natasha Mayo, and Alice Prince Hall. So many other people. We can't shout y'all out. But we appreciate you all joining us. We will go back and have everyone a review so that they can chime in. And each one of them have their own Facebook Lives going on. So thank y'all people for joining. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. Thank you. Y'all know that we got to go.
I just want to show
next week I will not be here, but these ladies will be taking over. Shanae will be in studio. You all can stand up. Shanae will be in studio. Mara will be in studio. Sonia's coming back. So I think they're going to do like a whole little something going on while I'm not here, but it's going to be very nice. So what we do is at the end of the show,
I'm gonna sit because I'm 6'4".
You're fine.
I was gonna sit there and mess up. Can we go over the ending part? Can we go over the ending part? I said we got this room.
So y'all know how we do this at the end. Can we? Shall we? Let's do